Are you the kind of person who's always asking, why does every guy hurt me? You're the kind of girl that's wondering why you have so much bad luck with relationships. Well, stick around because this video is for you. I'm going to be giving you some very key points as to why this happens and how you can get it to stop. All right, let's jump right into it. So the first reason, most of the time, why guys will hurt you or will leave you, or whatever the case is, and this seems to be a recurring theme with your life, is because you're always giving too much of yourself. I also speak from experience. Maybe you're the kind of person that loves wholeheartedly. You're loyal, you're good, and you want to just prove how good of a girlfriend you are by doing everything for him, by treating him like a king. Because you feel like if you're going to love someone, they deserve that from you. You want to show them how much you love him. That's the best way you know how. Do everything for him. And you just end up giving too much of yourself. And as I matured, I had to also learn the hard way that when you're the one putting in all the work, the other person doesn't have to. Guys by nature love to chase. That's who they are. If they feel like they have you and they have everything that they want, they're not going to want to chase anymore. As much as they say, oh, I'll never treat you like that, I'll never cheat on you, I'll always appreciate everything you do for me, we're human beings. And women are a lot more emotional than men are. So where a woman may say, and I'm not trying to be sexist or anything, it's just biology, where a woman may say, wow, I'm more emotional, I'm more sensitive and feely, and every time a guy does this for me, I feel good. I feel so good. But if, and even to some extent, if you overdo it, some women don't like that either. Like if you agree with everything they have to say, that's not attractive. But if you're the kind of person that's giving a guy too much of that, he's not like you. He's not going to sit there and be like, wow, this is the one person for me. No, he's going to want that chase. He's going to be like, I got you already. And I've even had that, my partner tell me that, where he's like, I already have you. Like, and he didn't mean it in a bad way. He's telling the truth. Like, there was nothing for him to work for. There's nothing that kept him interested long term or to try harder, because I was doing everything. I was essentially becoming his mother. And you don't want to do that. Guys will date girls like their mothers, but they don't actually want their girls to become their mothers. It's not very attractive. So at that point, when you start to become that person, you cook and you clean and you do everything for them, they never have to lift a finger to even impress you, you realize that, well, you know what? I'm good. This is perfect. And the guy's just like, ugh. All right, it's my mother or my big sister. Now let me look and see what else is out there, because now I know I got this on lockdown. It's safe. She's not going anywhere. Let me look and see what else is out there and start to shop around. It's just not interesting for him anymore. You have to keep up the chase. And it's not a bad thing, because that's what guys like. They like variety. They're still going to look at other women, but it would be a lot more helpful for your relationship long term if you gave them variety. If you made them feel eventually that you had to chase. And the way that you do that, stop giving too much of yourself. It is not your job to do that. You want to do for each other, and you want to be there for your guy. But if you're bending over backwards to make sure he never has to lift a finger, that's not attractive. It's not attractive as a person. It's not attractive to him either. People like that always get taken advantage of, and that's why you look like an idiot. So stop giving too much of yourself. The second thing is, you don't know how to look for clues. There are some good guys out there that, with the first thing that I mentioned about giving to yourself too much, they're not going to hurt you. They're just going to become uninterested and not motivated to even do anything about the relationship. But there are people out there that are just not nice people, or maybe they haven't reached that stage in their lives where they're mature enough to have a relationship. And if you don't know how to look for these things, you're an idiot. I'm sorry. I'm speaking from experience, and I call myself an idiot too. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just speaking to you the way that people often will not. You'll read all these articles, and they will never tell you these things. But you have to know how to look for clues. What clues are you talking about? Well, for example, if you see a really cute guy, and every month he's had a girlfriend, if he's very, very attractive and you see that he hangs around a lot of girls and he's very young, you can pick up those clues, but you allow yourself to become blinded by your infatuation by this person, that you can't logically put two and two together to see that this guy is a player or that he's not ready for a relationship. So you go in thinking that I'm going to change him and see, I made him different, when you already know how he is. And you end up getting hurt because you're just another notch in his belt. If you're dating a guy and you know you're dating it just for fun, then this shouldn't be a problem. But if you're expecting this player and the person who's given you clues that he is a player or he's not ready for a serious relationship, things that he says, things that his friends say, people who are around him and how he behaves around other people, and you've seen all those clues but you choose to ignore them, and you're expecting a fully fledged, committed, long-term relationship with this person, you are an idiot. You are allowing yourself to be fooled by yourself. Always have an open mind, yes, but always have a logical mind when you're looking at people, so you do not waste your time. Now, the third reason why guys may hurt you or leave you or whatever is because you stop improving yourself. I know a lot of people are like this. Guys are like this too. If a guy does everything to impress a female and then he gets her and he's just like, I don't have to try anymore, somebody else is going to be waiting in the wings that is going to try, that is going to perpetually be trying to impress your girlfriend. And she's going to be like, wow, well, my man did this in the beginning, but he's not doing it now, so I guess he doesn't have that much value. And then you're like, the other guy's starting to look pretty cool. So guys also work the same way. If you stop improving yourself, let's just say that when he met you, you were 130 pounds and, you took care of yourself and you weren't like the prettiest person in the world, but you took care of yourself. You were happy and you're whatever. You were building yourself up. You were becoming your own person, and he was growing with you. He was getting to know you, and every time he tried to catch up with who you were, you went a step above him and you leveled up even more. This doesn't just mean money. It doesn't really just mean physical looks. It could just mean who you are as a person. You're always trying to look at the bright side of things. You're always trying to build yourself up as a person. Part of growing together is actually growing up alongside each other. And that's really awesome that you guys can share your journeys with each other. But if you stop improving yourself and you let yourself go, you're now 300 pounds, you drop out of school, or you don't have a career or hobby, and he becomes your lifelong thing, you're not enjoying life with him, you're making your life about him, that's unattractive. And he will leave because he's like, I don't want another copy of me. I don't want a shadow. That's not what I want. I want someone who I can grow old with. I want someone who's going to give me adventure, who's going to challenge me, keep me on my toes, who's going to give me a reason to fear losing her. But if you're not that person and you're just like, I'll stay with you forever, you never change, you're just the same, he's exactly what he expects, he's going to be like, this boring. Same thing with guys. You would do the same thing. If a guy is stagnant and he wasn't doing anything with himself, and maybe he played an instrument, maybe he used to serenade you or take you out, and he used to do all this stuff that was fun with you, and he just stops doing it. Once you guys are in a relationship, oop, all right, don't need to do that stuff anymore. I already got the girl. And you know why they stop doing that? Because you give them everything. You've established that they don't need to try anymore, so they stop improving because they don't need to. Why would they need to? That's going to make them uninterested. It's going to make them demotivated, but then it's also going to put them in the way that if somebody else comes along that is improving themselves, they're going to look more attractive to the guy too. And that's most likely the reason why they leave as well. Number 4, you choose the wrong guys. And I'm not talking about number 2 where it was like, well, they're horrible people or they're just players. I mean, sometimes you choose someone who's too young and immature. It's not that they're a bad person. It's just that they're so young, they don't even know who they are yet, much less to know where they stand with you or how to even have a relationship. And somebody said something very wise the other day I was listening to. They said that when you date guys or when you look at guys, imagine them being 10 years younger than what their actual age is, mentally. If a guy is 30 years old, that means that he's 20 years old mentally, because guys, they mature slower than females physically, and then they kind of catch up. But then they're always trying to catch up to females mentally. Now, guys may be better in a lot of things like math and engineering and politics and all the stuff where it matters, where they have to use their logical mind. But when it comes to emotional stability and all that other stuff, guys, they take a while to know who they are. They're more in touch with their bodies than they are with their emotions. So they'll know their bodies. I mean, they start masturbating from like a really young age. They know their bodies better than females know their bodies. Men are the opposite. Females are the opposite. They know their emotions better than they know their bodies. So always imagine that a guy who's like 40 is 30 years old mentally. A guy who's 50 is 40 years old mentally. So if you're dating a guy that's 25, he's going to be 15 mentally. Are 15-year-olds ready for a committed long-term relationship? No, they want to screw around. They want to have fun. They're still trying to figure out who they are. And you'll notice this because across the board, it seems that, at least for Western males, when they mature or the time they really start settling down is when they're in their mid-30s to early 40s. That's when guys are just starting to get themselves together. I'm not saying every single one, because there are guys that have a good upbringing, they have a military father or something, and at age 20-something, they already are a manager at some store or corporation. And I'm not talking about those rich guys, I'm talking about in general. Guys that are usually between the ages of 35 to 40, That's when they just start getting themselves together. So, don't go into a relationship with a 29-year-old and expect that he's going to be fully mature and he's never going to do anything wrong, and you're acting your age or ages beyond your age and expecting this guy to catch up to you. And because you're more mature than him that way, you're going to be treating him that way. Often you're going to be like, why can't you do this? Why can't you do that? And what do kids usually do when you talk down to them like that? They shut their ears up. It goes through one ear and out to the other. Maybe they open it up so whatever you say just goes out through one ear and out through the other. And they're like, you know what? You're like my mother. I don't really want that right now. I want someone who's ready to have fun. They can't have fun with you. You're not going to be that person because you take things way too seriously. They're not going to stay with you because you're too immature. In their mind, they're still immature as well. Now, the last thing, and this is a very serious one, but I had to also reevaluate this. You depend too much on love. What in the world? I mean, isn't that the point? Yeah, but it kind of piggybacks off of the kind of guys you choose. Young guys who are ready for relationships. If you're of the mind that everything is romantic, and the minute you meet someone, before you even really get to really know them, you've already mapped out how you're going to get married and have kids and all these other unrealistic expectations that you're going to be together forever, they're going to be faithful for you forever. If you're depending too much on this Disney fantasy love, you're going to be in for a rude awakening. Yeah. If you're depending too much on love, or you're only depending on love, you are going to be in for a rude awakening. That is the wrong way to do about things. You can have an attraction to someone. You can even grow to love them. There's nothing wrong with loving them. But if you think love is the only thing that's going to hold you guys together, you're a fool. There's a lot of things that comes into play with this. It is finances. It is personality. It is beliefs. It is where you stand. You can fall in love with anyone. You can learn to love anyone, but what will keep you together is if you choose to hang on to that person and to be of value to each other. If you're ready to be of value to that guy, but he's not ready to be of value to you, it doesn't matter how much you love each other, it's not going to work. And he's going to end up leaving you. Because then what's going to happen, it's going to go all the way back to the number one point that I made, which is you giving too much of yourself, him giving too little, and you feel like you're taken advantage of, him feeling like you're no longer fun or anything, and he's going to leave. And you're both going to be very unhappy. Stop depending too much on love. As someone put it, love is a chemical thing that causes people to stay together long enough to mate and create babies. But real, bona fide, authentic love is the one you manufacture. Not manufacture like a bad way, like you're pretending. It's the one that you work on developing and keeping alive after the honeymoon stage has passed. If you ask every old person that's been married for decades, how did you guys stay together? They will tell you that the earliest years were the hardest. It starts off great, but then after that, it's like they hate each other. And the moments that you experience in your relationship when you want to break up the most, if you can get through those moments, that is what will tighten your bond. That is what will engender love. Because every time you do that, that is an extra investment that you guys have put into each other. People love things that they've invested a lot into. If you have had many fights, if you've had years, because fighting is normal, guys. After the honeymoon stage is over, you're going to see each other for who you are. And if you want to stay together with that person, you have to be willing to accept that person. And you also have to be willing for each other to compromise, to make yourselves better. If you're not with someone who's trying to make you a better person or challenges you to be a better version of yourself, you're with the wrong person. And that is one of the reasons why people will leave you, why guys will leave you, because you will give too much of yourself. You depend too much on romantics when that's not the realism of it. Things aren't going to fall into your lap. The real hard truth about keeping successful relationships that are romantic and alive, and the kind of relationships where you see two old people and they're so in love with each other, those took work. It took people throwing dishes at each other's heads. It took men doing stuff to hurt their girlfriends. It took years of them working and toiling to get to that point. Anything good that lasts forever takes a lot of work. But people nowadays, especially the younger generation, we're being taught that, no, it's like in the movies where you automatically just love each other forever and ever, amen. That's not how it works. And if you keep that mentality about you as you are trying to date people, you will be hurt every single time. You have to also love yourself enough. That's the only thing you should love too much. Love yourself enough that if that guy acts that way and he's ready to leave, you're okay without him. Learn to love yourself more than you could love anybody else. That's all I have to say. So, the points were, don't give too much of yourself. Stop giving too much of yourself. Learn how to look for clues in people so you can avoid certain people and avoid yourself wasted time or heartache. Don't stop improving yourself, not just for the guy, but for yourself. Because think about it. If you stop improving yourself, right? Let's just say you let yourself go. This guy decides he wants to leave you. Guess what? You want to get another guy, right? You want to stick it to this one, right? You have to always keep yourself in a state where other guys want you. I know it sounds disgusting, but it's the truth. If this guy doesn't work out, you have to be in a state where other guys want to date you. Because if he leaves and you're all blown out, no other guy wants you, then you lose. That doesn't make any sense. And that also helps keep him around, because if you're always banging and you look hot, and I'm not saying you have to dress in like tight red clothes, that would be nice once in a while, but you keep your body nice and tight. And there is a way to do it. You can let yourself go. If you're let go right now, you can get your body tight again. Trust me, you can. It may not be as tight as when you were like 13 or something, but you can get it tight again. Don't worry. It's something that you can actually work on to change, unless you have a medical condition. But if you keep yourself tight, he knows. Your guy you're with knows that you can easily get another guy, especially if you look like that. That's the wonderful thing about it. You don't even have to have a great looking face. You could just have a tight looking body. Other guys would be like, damn. And he knows other guys will want you, and that will make him stick around. That will make him be more competitive, because guys are more loyal and they're more invested when they feel like other guys want what they have. So don't stop improving yourself. Not just for you, for other guys, because if your guy acts up, understand that you can get somebody like that. Okay, the other thing is, stop choosing the wrong guys. Stop choosing people who you expect to be with you long term when you know that they're not ready for a long-term relationship. And it usually is people who are very young. Always use the 10-year rule. If a guy is 40 years old, imagine he has the mind of a 30-year-old. Now, the last one is, you depend too much on love. Stop depending too much on love. Things are not Disney fairy tales. It's not how the world works. Stop expecting everyone who just falls madly in love with you to stay in love with you with no work whatsoever, or you giving everything you've got, and they're just going to be complacent with that. No, you will get taken advantage of and you will be hurt. And I noticed when I stopped doing this, and I stopped expecting this, and I applied these rules, that stopped happening to me. The few relationships I did, sometimes I did backslide back into the way I was before, especially if I really like someone. But for all the guys I've dated where I employed these things, I was good. They were sold out. Like, it worked so well. It was a beautiful balance. They understood that their masculine energy are where it stood in this relationship, and I had my feminine energy. I let them chase me, because that's what guys like. They will say that, no, we don't like games. It's not about games. It's biology. Guys like to chase. That's why they like variety. That's why if you're complacent and you don't improve yourself and you stay blah, they're going to look for other women to screw. Like, that's just the way it is. That's how their biology is. So for you to emulate or trick the guy's biology, you have to keep improving yourself. You have to keep things different. You have to always have him chasing. Because if he feels like he doesn't have you 100% or he could lose you, trust me, he doesn't want another guy getting you. His pride and his ego are gonna come into play a lot more than his loyalty. And he's gonna be like, you know what? I don't want another guy screwing her. Even if right now I don't want to, the fact that another guy may want to and she doesn't care whether or not I leave so that she can go with another guy, that makes me upset. And that will re-up his attraction towards you. Trust me, I had to study this stuff. And I'm like, really? That's how it works? I'm like, okay, well, I can see it. And as mad as you want to be at it, it's science. It just is. If you can employ science and you can apply science, if you can apply science to your life, it works. Once you realize what it is, once you realize what females are, what males are, how they work, and understand them, things will be a lot more easy. Anyways, if you guys have any other questions, just ask.